let's do this. Alrighty then, mic check, mic check. Welcome aboard, ladies and gents. Alright, let's get right into it here tonight. So, let's kill that music as we are doing this new series. Of course, we did the first part of the two-finger salute strategy. This is going to be part 2. And of course, this is primarily focused in on full auto. We can address some of the things in the regular, but go back and watch part 1 of this series so that you are caught up on all the rules, etc. Of course, that previous page there will have all of the rules, and of course, right over here down below me, you will see those as we go. If you need to reference those, I do recommend, if you are going to be using these strategies, that you print those out, keep them somewhere on your own desk. So let's look here. These this is data from today, and this is the NASDAQ. We've got some nice setups right in here. We've got a nice loose up 2-finger. What are the rules here, right? Coming into the dual bands here. This is a double Bollinger Band, one of our specials. We got some, again, I recommend using ours. Don't use a standard Bollinger Band. You can, but ours is better. Just trust me, it's tweaked. So make sure you use those. Coming into that double bands, super band, push up into the golden ropes. Beautiful. Let's scroll over and take a peek at a couple more of these. This is looking pretty good, right? So we got the down 2-finger into the golden ropes. What are the rules, right? Rehash here. Into the golden ropes, we're reversing. What do we get up here? We've got a 2-finger salute into the golden ropes. I'm sorry, into the Bollinger Bands. What are we doing? Back down inside, right? Let's go back. Here's some more. What about this one? Pop quiz time, right? Super, down. It's a down 2-finger, but where is it? Right? Location, location, location. We've got the ropes in here. We got the rivers around it. Is it touching? Yes, it is. So if it's a down, what does this become? It is an up, right? Up move and targets filled. All of these looking like some really nice winners here. So again, you guys know how to do this manually, or you should from watching the last videos. This is a down 2-finger into Bollinger Bands. What do we do here? Right up in it, right? You guys know what to do. Great stuff. All right, now, very powerful strategy. So how do we automate it? This is for the platinum folks, or people who are wanting to do platinum. We'll go that way as well. Let's go ahead and turn it on here. So this is a 24 range random. We have not optimized this or anything. We just happen to be on 24 today. So let's go into our strategies. I'm going to add the let's see, 2-finger strategy is actually already on here. Okay, actually I set this up before. Okay, so let's enable it and let's look at our current stats. And again, this is taking every 2-finger right now. This is not, we're not looking at any kind of filtering whatsoever. So let's take a peek at what we've got first. This could take a minute because it is NASDAQ. And of course, lately the VIX is at, you know, we're in the 50s, 60s. We approached, actually we hit in the 70s recently. So if you're watching this back at a later date, you know, the VIX levels are probably not going to be where they are right now. We are in some unprecedented territory here during the coronavirus scare and the macro events that are going on right now. We've got, you know, it's an election year as well. This is the last day of the month of March 2020. And I think I've got too much data on here. I'm going to have to shrink this down. It's going to take too long to do these examples. I'll try to cut this out of the video. We'll take a pause right here. You guys want some Triangle Man? Triangle Man. Triangle Man. Dumbo chick down. Dumbo Triangle Man. Triangle Man. Still waiting. Triangle man. Dumb butch get down. Dumb triangle man. Dumb butch get down. All right. Wow, taking it way too long. On the minions. Get this hamster wheel going. Yeah, it's too much data. I figured for NASDAQ. Put a bunch of days of data on here too. It's a few weeks. We are all right, about 16 minutes in, and kind of started over here with crude because NQ just too much data right now. Again, those are things that you'll run into as a platinum member. One of those things I hope that platinum and patience need to kind of work hand in hand, the two P's. You do need to have some patience to be able to work with the data sets that you're working with. The advantages and disadvantages are, you know, the time that it takes. The advantages are kick back, let it do its thing. Okay, so here we go. So not really tweaking anything. We're still on the 24 range from where the NQ was. We have really not done anything with kind of tweaking this at all. And this is now 1 week's worth of data. And for the week, it's showing $479. Okay, let's call 480. Okay, so $480 right now, untweaked, just turned on, running all day, no time distribution whatsoever. But let's go ahead and take a look. So right click, strategy performance, historical and real time. Okay, everybody got this? Historical and real time is what you want. Okay, strategy performance, right click, there it is. That's how you get it. Click right there. This is the fast way to get to your current performance. Okay, now it's going to pull up. This should be familiar to you guys looking at your own performance reports. And let's pull this down here so we can take a look at some stats as we get into here. So of our 480, that is including $590 of commissions. Let's change this. Always change this to currency, people. Don't ever send me anything that's not in currency up here. Okay, it's really, really annoying. Please make sure it's set to currency. Okay, total number of trades, 58 for the week, 56% profitable. And consecutive winners, losers, average time in market 7.2 minutes. Now let's see. Now what we want to do is start to kind of tweak this. Okay, we want to make this better. We want to see where we're doing well. One of the main ones is to come in here and look at your time distribution. Okay, now 10 a.m. looks like a tough one. This is the exit time. Always switch this to entry time. And let's do by the half hour. All right, so just off the cuff here, I can see that the afternoon there prior is working well with the current settings. And that's a pretty big boost there right through the lunch hour. Looking pretty good there for crude oil. Again, this is crude oil. So crude has a particular set of personalities to it. That's okay. I just wanted to see if there's anything here that we could work with. Not really something I want to work with on this one. This is usually the first start where I go. So let's go ahead and start moving around on this and see what we can do. Now, a couple ways to start kind of tweaking this. 24 range. First of all, let's see. This week, let's go into our Discord chat. Okay. And let's head to our premium members section. Premium members chat. Okay, now I'm going to, here is our optimization for this week. So this says crude should be on the 33. Okay, so I'm looking at crude. So because we're using current data, I'm going to use what is already kind of optimized. Let's just change it to 33. So I'm just going to click in the chart and remember our little trick, 33R. Okay. I'm just typing right in the middle of the chart. You click and type 33R for range, 33 range. Okay. That's a little quick tip. There are lots of other ways to do this. Again, I teach you guys the fastest way to do things. 33R, enter. Now up here at the top left, you'll see loading data. Okay, 33 range actually is not looking too good here. That is giving us a minus 1725 for our current settings. Now remember, this is with current settings that we have, and I'll show you guys, remember when we get to the optimization part, we'll find out what settings we're going to be working with there. 24 seem to be a little bit better. I'm just going to do a couple of guesses, some of my favorites. 21 range, I like to always check that one. 21R, this is a quick way of doing this without running the optimizer. I'm just showing you guys how I'll do a quick test. Whoa! Okay, something can't be right there with that. Minus 40K, what? Okay, well, we're not doing that one. How about the lowest? So 16 range. This one's usually looking pretty nasty. Like 16 range, far too low to run all day. Now remember, what we're trying to find is there a sweet spot during that daytime that we can run it? So I'm gonna look at my historical chart anyhow and see if there is a time of day that's going to help us on this, which there should. Okay, so I'm gonna go into my time distribution. Entry time by half hour. Okay. Oops. Let's see. So biggest there, 8 a.m. It's kind of back and forth here with our current settings on the 16. So really nothing I want to work with here. Let's keep going up. Let's go up to an 18 range. Again, this is just a rapid fire way of doing this. This right now has a 15 tick target, 25 tick stops, and then a flip, a target of 25 on the reversals. All right, so this says minus 3,000. I'm gonna look at the performance for it anyhow, just to see if there's a time of day to work with, because oftentimes if you get a bunch of loss after hours, well, that really isn't gonna tell me anything. I don't really wanna see that necessarily. So I'm gonna come into my distribution time. Okay, so 6 a.m., early a.m., and then late afternoon, 1 o'clock. Kind of showing some good stuff with our current settings. Okay, so again, this is a little bit odd that I'm saying this. What I want to do, let's go. So the 24 is pretty close. How about 25? 25R. In fact, 24 was the closest to positive territory for the week that we got. So just moving one doesn't do it. 26R. Let's take one more peek here. Like 24 happened to be the sweet spot here. Okay, 26 has gone flat, so let's try the 28, just slightly up from that. And see. Whoa, okay, so sweet spot. You see how that worked? Now, again, it kind of gets a little bit, you know, don't be unnerved by this, is what you typically have to do. You got to kind of find what settings are working right now in your current market conditions. And again, this doesn't mean that, oh, the 28 range is the best all the time. Okay, this means in our current market conditions, the 28 is looking pretty darn good, right? For this is the best so far. And this is, again, really not tweaking anything yet. Okay, so let's remember this number. Let's just call it 3,500, okay? Because we want to kind of beat that. That's our goal, is to run our optimization process and see if we can beat what we're doing with just basically randomly selecting the range for our strategy, okay? Now let's look at internally though. Let's make sure we didn't have some big outlier in our data. 75% win rate, that's looking pretty good. Profit factor 1.87. We like those two numbers, don't we? Yes. So let's come over here into those stats and get into the graphs. That's looking pretty good. And this is only for 1 week. We want to look at more data than that. Let's look at the distribution. Oh yeah, that's looking real nice. So now that's for 1 week. I'm gonna go ahead and now let's see if this applies farther back than that. Usually I want to get with our stuff where we're running intraday. Right now we are looking for around a 2 week optimization period for a run forward of a single day. Okay, so to do that, all I'm gonna do is change in my data series, and I'm gonna go from 7 days. I'm gonna go to 14 days. Click OK. Now it can take a minute sometimes. Again, that's why I couldn't use NASDAQ earlier. Okay, for 2 weeks we're at 3,700. So again, not great necessarily. That means we've got 2 weeks that are kind of like different from each other, right? Not a whole lot of change. Putting in additional set of days on that. Let's go out 3 weeks. Data series. And these are loading pretty quick. So now again, if you're running NASDAQ, this could take a while. So again, really you got to kind of pick which ones you're going to be doing. I'm going to show you guys how to optimize all of them at the end. Again, I'm showing you kind of the long way, the long, slow way. Okay, so here we're still doing well. We're up 42.75 for 3 weeks. Let's go to a 4th week and really see if it looks like to me 28 is really kind of that sweet spot for right now with our current settings. And let's bump out a little bit farther. Let's go data series, and we're gonna go a full, we'll go 31 days here and see if we can beat 42.75. Loading data. And this is where the speed of your CPU will count, especially on NT7 and NT8. These things go much faster. Now, is NT8 faster during live market conditions? A little bit. But where it really shines is in full auto. Optimization, back test, optimize, walk forward are the areas where that really starts to shine. Now, we got to be careful. I just remembered. So on crude, what's happening here is it's probably reloading another contract month, because crude rolls over every month. Another one of those tricks with understanding what instruments, and that you need to understand the tools and the instruments that you are working with and their personalities and the little nuances of them. Okay, so out 4 weeks, I really didn't make much of a change. In fact, we lost about 75 bucks there on that. Let's take a look how much of our commissions were around that. And again, this is without doing walk forward each day. This is just a single run. 70%, 1.64 profit factor. Those are looking nice. And commission $460. Not too bad. Okay, so a little more than 10%. That's not bad, right? 90% return on what we're purchasing there, right? I always talk about that as inventory. So making a 90% margin on what you bought, not too bad. Okay, so let's try to remember these numbers. In fact, I'll go ahead and take a screenshot here. Good time to get used to your screenshot utilities. Extremely important that you know how to use those and that you use them well. All right, so we got a screenshot of that. We will come back. So now, the idea here, again, I'm just doing this by hand, kind of just checking, seeing what we got. Now, we're going to get into the heavy stuff now, okay? This next section is going to be on optimization. So remember in my training, what I teach you guys is something called the BOW methodology. That, again, this is not something you can go and Google on the interwebs. Okay, BOW equals wow, as you guys heard and have heard me say. Okay, I try to drill it into your mind, easy things to remember. Okay, this is, again, everybody talks about backtest. Everybody knows what this is. Okay, backtest. That's 1/3 of the entire job, really a quarter. If you're including the Monte Carlo that you should run at the end of that to make sure you don't have some crazy outlier. Okay, optimization. This is the one we're about to do right here. Okay, and then walk forward is a sliding window scenario, and we'll have to do a whole nother section on that. That is extremely, I wouldn't say it's extremely complex, but from compared to these others, that is the most complex, understanding the sliding window and how you continue to walk forward. But it's as simple as understanding that if I want to know for tomorrow what settings I'm going to run back 2 weeks. Now, that's tomorrow. Now, what do I want to go 2 days from now? 2 days from now, same thing, run it backwards, etc. And that sliding window moves forward, why it's called the walk forward. Okay, okay, so optimization. How do we do that? So now I'm going to go into, it's called the strategy analyzer. So I'm going into my control panel, control center here, and let's pull this up. I'm in my demo here, and let's go to file, new strategy analyzer right here. Okay, put my control center back out of the way. Again, control center is kind of where everything starts. Get used to knowing how those things operate. Okay. All right, switching over to currency here, and let me click on my optimization, hit my drop down. We want for the Rivers ST. Okay. Here we go. Okay, so we want to optimize. Remember the BOW. Okay. BOW. There they are right there. Okay. Bow. Now we want to click on the O right here. Boop. Right there. Okay. So click on O. This will switch this to optimization. I'm going to click this little pin button here so it doesn't go auto hide on me. And I'm going to make a little bit more room here on this. Okay, so take a screenshot right now of kind of the stuff that I've got on the screen here on the right. What you want to be taking a screenshot of in red, we're going to do control this section right here. You want to take a screenshot of the settings right here because you're going to want to work with the same stuff that I'm working with right here. Again, you'll want to tweak this later, but the different ranges and stuff, I'm not going to go into detail on how and what these are individually. We'll do like a generic setup on what optimization is just in general, but again, I want to get this specifically to the two-finger salute here tonight. And if you guys have questions around these, you can always ask us in the room, and we'll do some of those. But for brevity's sake, just these are the ranges that we're going to be doing. What this means, the very first number here is where the range starts. So like the reverse stop, I want this system to go test the reverse stop between 10 and 25 ticks. That's what that means. 10, semicolon, 25. Start at 10, run to 25. The 1 at the end means increment by 1. Basically test everything. If I didn't really want, like earlier, you know, I didn't go test 16 range, 17, 18, 19, 20. I didn't increment by 1, right? I went 16, I went 18, I went 21. I kind of skipped a few, went to 24, skipped a few, 20. So if I know that I don't want to just like, if you find a good one, I'm not trying to part hairs here, right? The people that over optimize, so this is for those folks who are always, you know, try to ring the bell and they're like, ooh, what about curve fitting? They think they're so cool by saying that word. It's very easy to avoid curve fit if you just make sure that you're not trying to over tweak your systems and get a ballpark arena of where you are. And we'll talk about the strategies for money management that keep you on the positive green P&L side of the house. Okay, so that's what that is. 1515. So the river tick here, this is, yeah, in each one of these parameters we can go ahead and talk about some of those. So the river tick width, that is how far away from a golden rope that you care about reversals. Now remember, go back to video number 1 where I talk about if the two-finger salute box is inside the river, which means it's touching that river, right? How many ticks away? How wide is that river? Okay, think about how wide is it? Okay, I've got it set to 15 ticks. Okay, so it's within 15 ticks of that. I want to reverse it. If you want to test some things, you want to test some ranges, feel free. Okay, and in fact, again, you could really set these to some really wide ranges and run it. It's going to take a long time, but for brevity's sake here, I kind of, because I know my system, this is where, you know, no two systems are specifically alike unless their parameters are, you know, same obviously, but you get my point, is that each strategy has its unique characteristics. Two-finger salute has its unique characteristics, and this would be one of them for us. You notice it's 15-15, so I don't want it to optimize this, essentially, right? I'm setting it. I'm going, run this with 15 ticks on either side. Make sense? Okay, stops. I want to test from 10 tick stop to a 25 tick stop. Okay, target 10 to 15. This is my standard, right? And you guys know on a two-finger salute, what am I looking for? 5, 10, and 15 target for the default. Okay, now you can push this way out. In fact, I recommend at some point you test this out, right? See how far it can go. See if you can find something that can punch in and do double that, right? I always recommend doing double. If your normal is 15, then double it, right? Try let it go to 30 and see if you can find some good settings that will allow the system to run and punch in and hit more. Okay, so it's possible, but anyhow, for brevity's sake and for explanations here tonight, we've got these settings that we're going to be running. And you'll be wanting to run more of these. Again, I have a whole section of Platinum where you guys can kind of share settings, where we share our parameters that we're running, our optimizations if we're running them, and testing them out. Where if you find a good set of settings, we want to share that with the group, etc. Right? Sometimes we mass attack this. We'll have 4 or 5 different people kind of divide and conquer. Go, okay, run this on this, run this and this, and then each person kind of tackle it themselves. We can cover a lot of ground with kind of breaking this up. And the Platinum section, the Platinum room, is specifically for that. Okay, loose calculation, this basically means I want to try everything. I could make this like only do the supers, which are the stricts. Okay, but if you set it to loose, that means basically all of them. Turbo risk on. I usually in general have this on, but you can do it both ways. This is a partial martingale strategy, and not in the martingale sense of adding to a position, but incrementing as losses occur. So do I want to increase my contract count as if I start to take some losses at some point? Do I want to increase? And I won't talk about the details of inside of that, but it's not specifically a martingale. Martingale is very specific, doubling up. It's not exactly that. So we'll do some details on that at another time, but that is left on for our testing as of right now. Ranges, remember on the 2-finger salute, starting with 16 to 36. Now I've seen some people have really good success on the 55. So it's kind of hard. You want to maybe test 55 by itself. Any of the kind of fib numbers might be something you want to try. But I'm going to let the system run this. It's about a 20 tick range. And as, let's see, should I do 2 here? Nah, we'll let it run. Well, I want to see kind of how long this takes to run for this. And let's scroll down. Some important features that I want you to look at. So for our date range, again, we want to run 2 weeks back, right? Let's see, today is the 31st. So I want to run this back to, let's go to the 17th. And forward, and I'm just going to press it to Saturday. I know that's days out, but just a little trick that I do. It doesn't matter. Like, it comes up to today, it's going to include all of it. Right click set as default is pretty handy. So the next time I come in here, I won't have to change anything. Right click set as default, little trick. Don't have to do it, but one of the things I like to do. Let's move on down and take a peek. Okay, so I am optimizing on max net profit. This is one of those key things, and I want to use the genetic optimizer. Don't use the default. Okay, if you want to go study up on what that means or does, you can be my guest. And we want to, oh, the range. Let's come back here. You have to set this to true. Right. Optimize data series. Here it is. Set this to true. This is the only way. If this is set to false, which it is by default, then you cannot test on different ranges. Okay, just remember that. Write it down. It'll make sense later on. If you have questions, feel free to bring them to the room. But just know that this optimized data series has to be set to true in order to do a range of ranges. A little bit of a tongue twister there. Okay. Genetic, here are the other settings. So take a screenshot of this. Make sure you get your settings just like this. Okay, numbers of generations, crossover rates. You can go study up on what these are separately. Okay, but just use these settings. All right. And here we go. So I'm going to right click and set this as default one more time just to make sure I've got it all saved in case I crash and do it again. Now my contract count up here, I've got this set to 2. Okay, I can vary this. Obviously, if I bump it up to 5, it'll make more money. If I, you know, you can do the multiplier later. Okay, but I'm just setting this to 2 contracts. It's kind of normal, I think, for most folks. Now, what do I want to do over here? You'll notice my list. This is what's really cool about the optimizer. Now, earlier we were just running this for crude oil, right? If I just select default up here, okay, I am going to get these settings for all of these. This will optimize for all of these at the same time. Very cool. Now it's obviously going to take longer, but it's okay. This is how I normally do it. I run it across all markets. You guys know on Sunday night, I always put those out, and sometimes during the midweek, I run it on all of them. Okay, when you select default. Now, if let's say that I only wanted it to run just on crude oil, I would click this right here and run it. In fact, I'm going to do that first and see how fast that goes, and then we'll see if we can do a full run. And of course, I'll just pause the video and replay it if it takes a little bit longer. Okay. All right, that's it. Now, so I'm ready to run my optimization on our 2-finger river strat. All right, so let's go ahead and right down here, I'm going to click on run optimization. Now, sometimes there are things like this. This little window will pop up. Usually the defaults are already set appropriately for what you did over here, but if it's like the last second, it's like, okay, do you want to change anything before you go? And no, so I'm going to click on OK. Now, the way that you watch your status of your system is a little bit odd. Okay, optimization in progress. Oops, did my whole system just freeze up? Oh shoot. Okay. Whole system is freezing. Okay, I was trying to bring this over. Okay, so I'm looking at my control center window, and the reason I've got the bottom right there opened, there we go. Okay, so bottom right hand corner of my control center starts to tell me how much time I have remaining. Now, this isn't super accurate for time remaining. That shows like, 14 hours. This is if it was running every sequence that's ever out there. Anyhow, this is accurate when this is set to default, not on genetic. I won't get into that now, but if you want to watch the time elapsed and things, make sure this is still running. If this ever hangs down here, okay, you'll need to restart NinjaTrader. And it does happen. It does, things happen. And if it hangs, you'll want to check right down there. So this is run for about a minute so far. Did I just click crude? Okay. So I would expect that this should not take too very long. Typically for our stuff that we run on Sunday nights, we're running it across all. Of course, it's on another machine. It's a little bit faster than this one that we're running on right now, but usually takes about 4 minutes. And I'm running that against all, and I'm running it with a series that's not just a 2-finger salute. We are doing a myriad of options inside of our, what I call the generic optimization, that helps us to have all of our harmonics and all other kind of stuff tweaked appropriately. Now let's see. We're at 1:47. You might pause the video here. All right, here we go. So total net 8,004. Now that's a pretty good number, right? Our highest that we had before, we were at about 4,700, right? And that was on 2 contracts. Yeah, that was 42 for the month, but I think even on a 2-week run, I think we were at about 4,275. So 8,004, that's a lot better, isn't it? Right now, let's see what settings we've got for that. So again, we're just doing one for now because we'll keep all of our stuff kind of in order. I want to know what those settings are going to be. So right down here, just a little bit bigger. Let me unpin this. This should give us a little bit more room. Okay, and let's bump this up. Okay, so we got our one line here. Now, if I had done all 4 of these on the left, then there would be 4 lines here and would tell me each one of those, which is really nice. We can, of course, see the summary of these. 36 total number of trades, percent profitable. Interesting, 27%. That seems low. So we may want to look at this. I don't know that this is going to be good. This might be one of those candidates for a Monte Carlo simulation scenario that we may have to look at, and I'm going to teach you that right now, in fact, because this is probably one of those rare scenarios. Yeah, see, we have this yoink. Okay, whenever this type of thing occurs, this is not good. Okay, we have an anomaly here. So this is actually a bad run. Now, I know that's a little bit tricky. You're trying to think, well, what should I have to do on this? What I want to do is go back, and I'm going to run this one more time, but I'm going to, instead of max net profit, okay, I'm going to do a max percent profitable. I didn't talk about that much, but you can optimize on certain things, different things. You can actually do least drawdown. Okay, that's actually another nice, really good one. Min drawdown. In fact, let's try that one. Like, let's minimize our drawdown, and let's try this one. Okay, we're going to run that optimization one more time. Really just takes about a minute, so I'm going to run that one more time. We'll pause our video here. Okay, so minimizing our drawdown really doesn't give us great results here. We only got $120, 48 trades, 65% profitable, profit factor of 1. Okay, that's not the greatest either. Let's take a look at the actual graph. Okay, so the drawdown was a -900. Okay, so see how that changes things? But now what I want to do is let's do the max profit factor instead, so that we are not just going for, okay, the maximum profit, which takes, you might have maximum risk to get maximum reward. depending on your strategy. So we want, let's do max profit factor, another very common one that we want to run on. Click on OK. Now, again, what this is running for, I don't have any time distribution filters for this right now. What I'm running, I'm just running this like pick it, get it. There we go. That's looking pretty nice. And that is 39.30. Now, what's interesting is that's actually not better than our original setup, is it? I'd be curious if our setting, what's our range for this? Ends up being the 19 range. Interesting. Okay, so I instantly can look at that and tell. So the range for this was the 19. Okay, I believe our, what was our good one that we found? Was 28. Okay, so for the 28 range was what we found was actually the best in kind of just our hand walkthrough. But there are some other settings here, right? Our reverse stop is 16, reverse target is 25, river tick 15, stop is 21, target is 10, interestingly enough, on the targets. So again, we can basically just take these settings and plug those in to crude oil if we want. Okay, still not too bad. 57 trades. Let me see how many it was on our original without running the optimization. So performance, historical real time. How many trades is this? This was 54 trades. If this one was less. 57. Interesting. So it looked like I actually found some better settings by hand, which, you know, is not surprising. Well, it is actually surprising to me. But, you know, we know this strategy so well. I'm looking for a 15 tick target. I've got my settings kind of tweaked in. So let me show you what happens when, like, I kind of dial this in. Okay, this is just kind of letting the optimizer go with our current ranges. But let's say that I tell the optimizer a little bit more detail. And again, that's what I'm saying. Like, when you start going full auto and you're running through optimizations, you really kind of got to know your system and know what you're doing. My stuff is kind of tweaked for intraday. I know what settings work well intraday because we've studied this, right? We know this strategy by hand, right? We know it by heart. So what I'm going to do now is go back to my strategy analyzer and tell it a few more things that are going to match up with the strategy that I set up when I turned this on, right? And what were those settings? Right here. Okay. So contract size 2, and I've got reverse stop. So we got 25, 25, 25, 15. Okay. So here we go. I'm going to go set those. So rather than a range of 10 to 25, I'm going to set this first one hard set. I want it to go and find me some good settings with 25, 25, and what did I have for my stop? I think actually I had this also was 25, and my target 15. So rather than the 10, I want to go 15. Okay. Is true, and range is 36. Now, because I have narrowed all those down, the optimizer's not going to have to do a whole lot of work right here. So this is really going to pinpoint down and focus on what range I want. Now, what I want to do then, instead of my current range then, is I want to give it some more space. I'm going to let this thing run all the way up to that 55 range I told you guys about before. And that will be the main thing. So actually, I don't want to set default this time. Okay, so I'm going to run this, and I want to try this one more time for not max profit factor. I want to do max net profit again. All right, and let's run that and see what we got for our settings. All right, clicking OK, and we will pause video here. Right, so we are back. Here we go. So best we could do is 32.50. All right, so our eyeball method actually did pretty good from before, and this says that the best was 39. Let's see if we saved any on our commissions. Go to our summary page. We did. We saved some in commissions. So this was only 29 trades. So instead of our 54 trades, this was in 29 trades. Nice percent profitable here, 72%, profit factor 2.0. Very nice. So this found us a good set of settings here. Now remember, what we want from optimization is I'm optimizing the settings. That's the whole point of optimization, right? Think about the word. We're optimizing the settings. What are my optimal settings for this current market environment? What are those going to be? What am I going to plug in to my system tomorrow? Okay, that's the idea. Boom, here we go. Settings, go into my settings tab. So here is what I would want to run right now. Again, we already know 25, 25, 15, 25 is normal stuff here, okay? But pay attention right here. Notice that it's in green. This was what it tested. You can tell it's in a light green color. So the stuff that you put in light green were the things that you set up a range for. And again, we kind of locked all these in, right? We locked in this section. And so kind of the golden boy here, the moneymaker here is what we had it tweaked. Now this is actually outside of our original range of 36. So at 39, right? That found something outside of the range that I would not normally have tested is a 39. Now, interestingly enough, I actually want to go and just plug this in directly and see what we would get. Let me pop this down, move it out of the way. And we're going to tap in 39R. What was this? 28R? Okay, 39R. Enter. Now remember, this is a full month's worth on this chart right now, and we tweaked this for 2 weeks. So we'll see if that applied back farther into the month here as well. But that is the process for finding, ooh, so for the month, that's actually not great. Let's see for those 2 weeks. And again, this is why this is important to continuously keep your settings moving forward and tweaked. And we want to look at time of day as well, because we really want to see, that's interesting. I'm not sure why we're showing that. Do I not? Oh, do I have reverse turned on? One moment, please. Reverse is off. Not sure that discrepancy there. Historical in real time. Did I run that for 2 weeks, or how far back did I run that? I believe it was 2 weeks. Yeah, found a little bit of an anomaly here. I will have to go back and see what's going on there. But normally these will match up. Not sure if it's because I'm not connected or what. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Why does that say 226? 311, is that right? What's this? Oh, we got a different date range. How did I grab this date range? Whoa. Okay, way different date range, isn't it? How did I get that date range? 311. Wait, this is the wrong date. 312. Oh, my data series is jacked. Hold on a second. Oh, look, end date 311. Yep, found it. Okay. Make sure all your settings are right, folks. So today is the 31st. Whoa. All right, so that actually changes a lot of stuff. In fact, that answers a lot of the questions that we had from before, why we weren't. Okay, so well, that changes things there, doesn't it, folks? All right, so now it matches. There we go. All right, so there it was, folks. There's always a reason. Okay, there's always a reason. Bingo. All right, so we found our problem there. This matches up now. We'll run a couple more of these because I know like that there's a couple things. We're just doing this off the cuff here, and we'll maybe run through another series of these, or if you guys want to see one specifically, pop those over in the Ask Me Any Questions section. In the next video, I will do, maybe you want to pick your market or your time frame, or you got specific questions, pop those in. So I'm kind of giving you guys, this is the run through on how you're going to optimize for the 2-finger salute, how you get your settings. I hope you guys got all that, and hopefully that was clear. Run this video back and maybe do it in slow motion. Remember, the things that you need to know are the settings over here. And of course, on your data series, you probably won't have that problem. This was because I had this system open for a while. This is a dev machine. And that data was that was off. Same tweaks, actually. Let me try this again. So before we had run What did we find? It was, the setting was 28 range. So let's see. Back then, the 28 range was the best. Let's see what we got here. See, only 220 bucks here on this range here for the 28. So yes, we did find the optimizer did its job as we expected. I was actually a little bit surprised by that we found that good of a scenario. But let me kind of do my little tweak again, like I like to do, and I'm going to flip through and see if I can find anything better than, what was that, the 39? So the 39 range was the best there. And what I want to see is, so sometimes that 55R is a little bit sneaky. Nope, 55 didn't do it. 34. All right, let's see how that one did. Not too bad. 1,000. Okay, I kind of expected that. My favorite, kind of a 21 range on occasion, is pretty good. Not this time. 25R. Nope. 20. No, 18. So we want to do the 18. Okay, this is just kind of shooting in the dark by hand. There we go. So that's usually a pretty good one, 18. And that's 600 bucks. But, you know, what was best? What is going to work the best from what we just tweaked and showed? And it looks like from a commission standpoint and others, that the optimizer did find that our best settings for this time period is going to be the 39. But let's do a couple more things here real quick, because you want to look at the time distribution. What we want to find is make sure that intraday that we see some real good numbers, and that this isn't working, you know, because it's some after hours or some nighttime. Yeah, that's looking like a nice P&L graph. That's what we want to see. Okay. And we're gonna look at our distribution by time. That's looking nice. Lots of green there. Awesome. Entry time by the half hour. Okay, so we want to find our trouble spots. We want to make sure that the morning is looking good. Yep. And now, do we find any surprise, right? That 10:10 to 10:30 that we kind of have some problems? No, we don't, right? I know that time of day we sit on hands, right? So we are right on the money here with what we just proved out, what we ran. Awesome, right? This one gets avoided. But look, we can basically run this strategy all day from the morning open, which we're normally going to run it right about here, starting 8 a.m. Interestingly enough, this is showing that we got some good stats there prior. Now, is that an anomaly or not? We don't know. We would run farther back and run more data than this to find that out if this were going to be something that we want to do. But again, you really want to get to know your strategy, right? If you're going to know it, you're going to run all kinds of these to make sure you know the ins and outs of your strategy, when to turn it on, when to turn it off, what its high watermarks are. We'll talk a lot about that on how to kind of tweak your system. Down here at the bottom left, we always tweak in live. It says high watermark behind that little thing right there. And P&L top left, we'll talk about the max contracts, etc. So anyhow, that is a good cover there. I hope you guys, at least, again, good. I don't know that this was intro. This is definitely beyond intro to this. I hope we covered everything, but if I didn't, you know, pop them down here in the comments. I might have missed something. We'll do maybe another video on this for any follow-up questions. But this will be part 2 of the 2-finger salute strategy. Hope you guys got some good out of that, and I will catch you guys on the flip side. Make sure you head over there to Discord and go into that Ask Me Any Questions section if you got any specific that you want in a video, or into the Platinum section to share those settings. All right, I'll let you get going. See ya.